Hi, I'm Drew, and I'm the Half-Naked Handyman. Today we're going to be building planter boxes do-it-yourself style. First, we're going to start with the materials. I've got some wood here, my favorite building material. This just happens to be 2x4 that we'll be using. Get this at your local hardware store. Along with 1/2-inch rebar. This you can also find at your local hardware store. Some of the tools we'll be using is a rubber mallet, because we need to be doing a little pounding. Next is a simple drill with a 1/2-inch drill bit. Next is a carpenter's square, a speed square, a fine tip Sharpie, a pen, and a tape measure. So remember, we're trained professionals. Always abide by and follow safety rules and regulations. All right, for the next step of building our planter boxes, we're gonna cut some wood. First, we need to measure our wood. So we're gonna get out a trusty little tape measure. Now, I've gone ahead and taken the liberty of figuring all the math out so you don't have to. We're gonna build approximately a 30-inch tall planter box. So for that, we're gonna need about 10 sections, each section containing 3 pieces of wood. That math becomes 30 pieces. Now, with that being said, each section is only a foot long. So we're gonna go ahead and measure out our trusty wood. Use our measuring tape, measure a little wood here. We're gonna measure it 1 foot. Use your square. Make a nice straight line on your wood. So we're gonna take this over to our saw now. With that, we wanna cut just outside the line. So that way we have a nice clean cut that's even on every piece of wood that we're cutting. All right, now for our next step, we pulled out the table saw so that we could rip down our pieces of 2x4 into 2x2s. So essentially the 2x2 is gonna be the next piece, is our finished product for the bases. Now this is also something that you can get at your lumber yard. Just have them get a 2x2 and have them cut it into 1-foot chunks. So for safe cuts with the table saw, you wanna make sure you have your guide set for 1 3/4 inches. Also, make sure that your blade is set just above your piece of wood that you're working with so that you have less kickback and that the dust doesn't catch up into your face. Speaking of safety, we want to make sure you always wear safety goggles, earplugs or earphones, a shirt, and gloves to reduce any material that might cause any kind of bodily damage to you. So this is the finished product after cutting. This is what we're starting with. All right, so the next thing we're doing here is we're taking all of our pieces of wood, measuring them out and marking them. I've been marking my boards at about 1 inch from the ends. That way our holes are all the same. And a good way to do this is just take your nice square and just line it up with the edge. Then you have 2 lines. Another way to do this, take one of your other pieces of wood. This speeds things up just a little bit. So we're gonna put a bunch of pieces of wood up here. And the other board goes ahead and make sure that it's square. Lay our square on here and just mark down the one side. And that way you have all those boards are already marked out. Come over to the other side and do the same thing. Then all those are done. Then we just have to lay out the next set and do the same thing. All right, so for the next part, we're gonna do some drilling with our handy dandy little drill. So we've already marked out our boards at 7/8 to the center by 1 inch from the end. So we're gonna place our drill bit on our mark, making sure that our drill is stationed up and down, keeping a nice vertical entry into the hole because, well, we want clean holes and we want clean entries. And my drill bites just like me, but I try not to bite on camera. All right, our boards are all done and drilled. See, nice clean hole. That's what we like. All right, for our next part, we are taking our boards that have our pre-drilled holes in them, and we are attaching them to the rebar, like so. So for the next one, we've got one on here. We need to add a second one. And this is where the rubber mallet comes into play. So we take the rubber mallet, you pound it on like so, so you have two nice flush pieces of rebar sticking out the bottom. Okay, so you want to do that with 3 if you're doing a 6-sided planter box. So we're going to start with 2 for right now, so that way we can start making our shape. So with these, you want to make sure that your curved edges are to the outside, not the square edges. And this part can be kind of tricky, because you have to line everything up just so as you go down. As you go down. There we go. Now we have it starting to shape up. Just tapping the wood, sliding it down, tapping it down. As you can see, this can be a little time consuming, but it's well worth it when you're done. Tappy, 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 down on the pole. I'm so happy tapping my pole. All right, now we're just putting on the last couple pieces here to finish off our planter box. All right, so this is what it looks like when you're finished. This is our planter box. Pretty simple, pretty easy. And the slats, I like to put strawberries or fresh herbs in here. In the center, I like to put either a fruit tree or rosemary or something a little bit larger plant. So that way you're utilizing not just the plantable space in the top, but also the plantable spaces in the sides. And you got this nice green round planter box instead of just your wood.